All right. Testing 1, 2. All right, I think we're good. Perfect. All right, I'm back to working on Seven Wonders. My TypeScript Node.js Seven Wonders game engine. And we had left off not yesterday, last week. I had, what did I do? What did I do last? Right, I was working on counting points. I had implemented that, so if I do, let's see, let's put a breakpoint right here, I guess. SSH next, yeah, okay. Run the debugger. Okay. And now I should be able to, okay, good. I think each player now has a victory points property, and the victory points has a from something, and where you can get the victory points so far accumulated in the game from different categories of points, and a total as well. Of course, the total is displaying method not implemented because I have not implemented all victory points. Counters, basically. But once I have, then this should work. I could also, for the meantime, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to comment out the ones that I'm not using right now. That, oops, there we go. And that should allow us to get the total. All right, so my problem now, what I need to work on is what happens when we reach the end of the game. And honestly, I haven't had much time to think about this, and I'm a bit stumped, I guess. If we look at the instructions, game overview, end of the game. End of the game. The game ends at the end of the third age after the conflict tokens have been handed out. Each player totals their civilization points, and the player with the highest total is declared the winner. In case of a tie, the player with the most coins in his or her treasury is the winner. A tie on coins is not broken further. And that is that. So, it looks like when we reach the end of the game, what I really need to do with my game engine is determine who's the winner. Yeah. Yeah. So if I look at game here, what do I have to do? Deal with the end of the game. Okay. So I had started setting up. Okay, I had done is game over. Oh, and I was dealing with that in the age. Okay. Age is game over. Return this ID equals ages per game in this turn. equals turns per age. Sure, I guess we're keeping that information in here, right? So why not? All right, so we check if the game's over, and if it is, we do something. And then what? Okay, so let's say for now, all I was doing is just console.log. Boom, game is over. That's how I'm dealing with this thing. Cool. And let's npm run. How did I set this thing up? Start doesn't build, it just starts it. Okay. So npm run build and npm run start. Oops. Typo. So now it should build and then it should start. Okay, cool. So I'm in the game right now in my CLI. It's not going to display anything, but I know that each of the 3 ages has 6 turns. So first turn, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Game is over. Boom. And I'm back at the CLI prompt. What happens if I do enter? Okay, I get an error. What's the error? Cannot discard as no card was chosen. Okay, let's see. Online game.step. Cool. Well, I should probably just exit once the game is over, right? That would make sense. But that's not something I should be doing in the... it's not really something I should be doing in my game.step game engine thing. It's something that the program should be dealing with. So something that main should be dealing with here. I would think. Anyways. So let's think about this. How could I... On close. Have a great day. What if I actually returned something, right? That would be the better way to do this. So if I did return, game is over. Game is over. And then in main, go game.step, and I'll just grab the whatever here is. Or let's store this const message is equal to game.step. And then I just log this message. And then if the message is equal to, whoa, how does it know about this? Cool. I've never seen that before. That must be a new thing. Anyways, I can just do process dot exit 0. And game terminated. How's that? Yep, I like that. Build and run. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Or actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Game is over. Exits. Boom. Alright, good stuff. And for the other ones, I get undefined because I'm not returning anything. But I will be returning something. Okay. So we've got the mechanism. But we don't want to just return game is over. We need to somehow get the winner. So we actually want to get not just a winner, but we want to see everyone's points. Right, if we look at each player totals their civilization points, and the player with the highest total is declared the winner. And each player goes through this procedure where you tally up your different kinds of points, so everyone really gets to see how many victory points in each category each player has. Mm-hmm. Okay. So. We could have, yeah, we could have a private function called get points or total points, or at the end of the game, each player totals their.
Yeah.
So it could be total points. Why not? And it'll just return some kind of value object. right? You'd go through this dot players. I would want, here's what I would want. Return just a neatly packaged kind of object where, okay, hold on. How am I going to do this? I'm going to use maybe an, okay, so let's say I did return. There's a total, no, this dot players. It's private, so let's use trailing underscore. This dot players dot victory, no, dot get, no. What do we have on here? Oh, right. It's an array of players. Okay, so this dot players dot map, right? So this, so each is a player. Now what do we do with that player? We want to have a neat little object that just goes something like this. Name, player name, or just player. Player is going to be player dot name. Okay. And then it's going to have total points. It's going to be player dot victory points dot total. Okay. I could, of course, oh well, I might as well just give victory points. Sorry. That was a close one. Well, basically, I could just do this. No. That's not how to do it. It's, how do I do that? I can do this, I know. Right. I can do that. Isn't there a way to use destructuring to kind of just grab the properties you're interested on an object? Oh, whatever, this works fine. Okay. Total points, name string, victory points counter. So I think if I did that, and in here I just did return this dot total points. Let's take a look at what this would oops. Looks like we've got a problem here. Of course. Of course. This is indeed a problem. Can't be returning an object and then returning a string and then. So I could probably always return who has the responsibility of checking if the game is over and dealing with that? Like, should that check even happen outside of the step function? Unless it happens in the age. When I call next, what do I do when I call next? I return a new age. Yeah, so that doesn't really work, does it? Unless... Nah. Okay, I think I'll do it this way. I'll actually come back here to what we had. Just a simple game is over. We'll change that to something more sensible in terms of message. But for now, this will work. So if the game is over, we're not just going to process.exit now. We're going to call from here our game dot total points. There we go. And we're going to console.log game is over. And we're going to console.log whatever comes back from this. Simple, but should be sufficient for now, just to get us through an actual playthrough. So discard, discard, discard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. I miscounted there. Okay, so all right, that's not what I would want to. So let's change that. Oh, I'm displaying 2 game overs. Why? What? How? Oh, I've got one here. Okay. So I don't need to do that twice. Do I? Okay. So let's modify that a little bit. I want something that's. What am I displaying? Victory points here is victory points counter implementation. What does that look like? Oh yeah, we actually have the player. Oh, we don't want that. Okay. So for now, let's just get our total points. Yep. No, we need to change that here. So total points is player, and then victory points will simply be victory points dot total. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ah, that's better. So, no winner. 19, 19, 19. Oh yeah, I should have something that calculates the winner. So maybe just a get winner. So we'll just return a string. Or do we actually want to say with how many victory points? Or no, not for now. So simply the rules are, well, first, whoever has the most points is, okay, so how am I going to do this? A reduce seems like a logical thing to do. Alright, so if I do return, this is dot players, dot reduce. And then, as per convention, P and C. Okay, we're going to be starting off with an empty string here. And then what do? We check. No, that doesn't work. We can't have an empty string like that if we want to compare. If we want to compare them. So let's get the whole thing. Let's not just return this. Let's get const winner equals this. Then see. It's just a matter of comparing between, yeah, okay, so if I do P dot victory points dot total is bigger than C victory points dot total. I actually need an if statement in here. Return P else if P, the exact same thing, is smaller. No, if else if well, else if it's smaller, obviously you return the other one. And if it's neither, it means it's equal, then we need to tie break some different way. And tie breaking is whoever has the most coins. Oh, but what happens if there's a tie even after that? I guess then I can't really use a reduce for that then. Yeah. All right then, let's see. Let's use a for loop, for of loop. That should work. For let's see, for const player of this dot players. And we'll have to kind of do our own. So const previous player. Oh no, this needs to be a let. Yeah, for previous player. So type player. And for current player. All right. And then let winner, maybe? Yeah, as a player. And how do I deal with a tie? A tie would... no, okay, let's call this current winner. Current winner. It's going to be a player. Oh, we could just call it winner. Okay, let's start with that and modify as we go. So we need to do this. If player well, I guess we don't really need to track current player here, do we? We can just say tied. Oh, and this could be a player array. That would make more sense, right? Yeah. Okay. Let's try this. tied players. Let's call this tied players. Okay, so if player dot victory points dot total is bigger. Oh yeah, that's the thing though. How do I kind of like with the reduce, I need to start off with the first player. There's that 0. There we go. Okay. We'll just, if it's bigger, if player victory points total is bigger than winner dot victory points dot total, then you replace the winner. So then winner becomes player. Okay, if it's not the case, else if, well, I don't really need an else, right? Because these will never be. If player dot victory points dot total is smaller than winner dot victory points, you don't do anything. So I don't really need this. What I need is this. If it's the same, dot total, then we're in trouble. Then we go and we check that player, another if statement basically. If player not victory points dot from treasury contents. Oh, actually, that's not true. We're not comparing the points, we're comparing the actual coins. Because you could have the same amount of victory points from the treasury contents, but one player could actually have a higher coin count. Because of the way the, okay, yeah. So, player dot, nope, get, nope. How do I, coins, okay, coins. Yeah, okay, so if player coins is a bigger than a winner that coins, then the winner is now the player. If they're the same, we are now into a tied situation, and we need to, so let's make this an array right away. And this can be a const. We're not going to be changing that array. So const equals, just make it an empty array for now. And we can do tied players dot push. And we need to grab the winner. Actually, what if there's 3 people tied? How are we going to do that? Player.coins equal winner.coins. Tied player is equal push the winner. Push the tied players. No, push the player. Uh-huh. And that would work fine if there's ever only two tied players. But what happens if we get to go around and then the next player is also tied with the winner? We don't want to. Oh, I know. Very simple. Very simple solution. Here we go. Don't really care about the order of this thing anyways, right? So I think it's add. There we go. Add the winner. Can we... What can we put in there? Can only ever put one. There's no... Okay. Well then. Let's just add the winner. The winner. The winner. And tied players dot add the player. Simple as that. Now that we need to keep track of the fact that we have a tie. Like once I'm done with all this, how do I know if I need to display a list of tied players or a list of winner? All right. I think we'll do it this way. If we have a winner here, the winner is now the player, and we make sure that tied players is empty. So tied players dot clear. There we go. And the other way around, if we ever have no, we don't want to clear the winner ever because that's kind of our comparison thing too. So all you need to do is check if the set is empty. And yeah, okay. All right, so once we're done with this, which is right here, we're good to go with displaying the winner. So if tied players dot there's no is empty thing. Values keys for each. All right, well, let's go with size then. Tied player size is equal to 0. Then just return winner dot name. Otherwise, return tied players. How am I going to do this? Should probably be a string. Yeah. Yum, 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 yum. That's, it is a string, isn't it? Yeah. But I mean like a message, not just a name. Although, do we want the game engine to actually return messages like that? Well, we're kind of doing it already with game is over. But that's also kind of a message, I guess. Most like an event, if you will. Well, for now, I could just return. Yeah, I could not worry about it too much for now. The winner is boom. Otherwise, we need to do something a little fancier and go. It's a tie between, and then I need some kind of a for loop. Tied players dot for each. Would that work? That would not work. Uh-huh. So it's the opposite that I need to do. No, that doesn't work either. All right, let's just go tied names equals yeah, let's go with tied. Well, actually, I could do it right in there. That would work. Okay, hold on. All right, check this out. Tied players dot map. No, it's a set. Crap. Okay, so tied players. Let's turn it into an array, just so that we can use map. And that map. And then we're just going to grab the name. That's all we're interested in, the name. And then once we're done with that, we're going to turn that array into a string. So join, I think. Join, isn't it? Join. Join, and we want a nice space between each name. And that should work. And we'll get to test that right away because oops, what am I missing here? I'm not supposed to have a dot here, that's why. Okay, we're gonna get to test that because we actually do have a tie between three players. So there. Oh, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Game is over. Okay, it's oh yeah. I need to actually call. Okay, so this is getting the total points, and then this will get game that winner, like that. Oh, it's a no. Okay, I set it up as a property. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a tie between Phil, Bob, and Joe. Now I'm thinking that I should have a comma. Oh yeah, but this feels wrong what I'm doing here. Right, if my idea is that I'm making a game engine um, that doesn't really know about the front end, I would Colorful Catter, what's up? I probably shouldn't worry too much about how the information is displayed. Right. Right. So I would instead be sending more of a message that goes something like, well, I could just return the name. Right, I could just return the winner name. And if there is a tie, then I just return an array of winners. Makes more sense to me. So let's not make this a string. Let's make this a string or an array of strings. If you get an array of strings, you know that it's a tie. If you get a string, you know that it's whoever has won. Or I could just return, yeah, let's just do, because I prefer returning just always the same type. And then I could just do, if, and then it's as simple as doing that. Otherwise, it's as simple as doing this. Oh, right. Type players dot name. Does that work? No, it doesn't. I gotta, how do I do this again? Oh yeah. I can, no, isn't there a way to just, damn. If I was to do, so type players is a set. Alright, I'll just do it that way. It's not too complicated, but I just think there's a way to do it with destructuring. Might be wrong though. So that'll work. Yeah. And then it'll be up to my front end to deal with that. For now, I'll be super lazy about it, and I'll do something like winners, and then do something like that. And then let's see what this would look like. What? Six. Winners, Phil, Bob, and Joe. Yeah, good for me. All right, cool. So I think I'm gonna say add. What did I add? I add a way to calculate a winner or tie. Let's do that. And now I kind of have an entire playthrough. Very simple, automated, with just one thing that you can do. Now I have an interesting choice. I can either make it so that, because right now I've got like this kind of fake game going where I'm just automatically where am I doing this? I'm building this, I'm doing that. Oh, it must be in here. Yeah. So I'm automatically discarding a card. Where am I doing this? Here. Right. Right. Like I've hard coded what each player is doing. So maybe my next step is to actually implement getting that action from the front end. Or should I try to implement another game mechanic and keep it like just hard coded again? I don't know. Don't know what would be better. I think I should try to get yeah, I think I should try to get the action from the player instead of hard coding it at this point. We'll just keep the one game mechanic, but I should essentially, as right now, I'm just, let's see. Right now, I'm just pressing enter to step through the next turn. So instead, I should probably get a prompt that says player X choose an action or something like that. And then I would, let's say I'm player X, then I would use some sort of command to say what I want to do. Yeah. So let's do that. How would this work? First of all, I need to have, let's think about this. Each turn. Game elements, game setup, construction, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Game turn takes place as follows. Choose a card. So you choose a card from your deck. Then you choose an action to do with that card. Our action is going to be, the only one we're going to implement right now, is discard the card to gain 3 coins. So we need to do 2 things. Allow the player to choose a card. And then, oh yeah, that's going to be interesting. So okay, right now, how are we doing this? Discarded player dot discard. So we've got a discard here, if this dot chosen card, oh, okay, we have a chosen card property here. Right. So we already set up a choose card function. Cool, cool, cool. And right now, oh, I see what I did. Okay. So right now, all I did was like just pop the first card from the end of the end of the hand. But now we need to implement some way to actually choose the card from the hand. Looks like I was kind of setting up to do it by the name, which is fine. They each have that's good. It's a good identifier. It's a good identifier. I think so. Anyways, they all have like kind of short, different names. All right, so I would need to at this point. Oh, and that's what I had. Okay, that's what I had going here. So player, choose card. I see. Right in the step function. Interesting. We're gonna need to set this up a little differently here. Cause step gets us to step through a turn. We need to set up that turn first. What information do we need to get from the game, from the front end, in order to set up? And this is basically the setup at this point with the few game mechanics that we've implemented. Well, we need to know which card and that does happen every turn, doesn't it? Yeah. Each turn, player chooses a card, chooses an action. Now, the way I'm thinking about this is that we could either have like this one big function called like turn setup where the front end would send a huge, big-ish object that has the chosen card for each player and their chosen action. To do with that card. And that would dispatch. Or I could have individual methods for each type of actions. And the front end would have to call all of these actions. Nope. Nope, because I want to keep the business logic kind of in the back end, right? As much as possible. So I really just should be sending data. And my game engine should figure out what to do with it. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to have some, let's see, yep, right here. Setup, turn. Setup, turn. Well, I could also just pass in that object into step, I guess. Uh, Either way, this could be just a private, yeah, okay. This could just be a private function called setup turn. Then you pass in whatever setup object, turn setup object, turn setup. Could even call it a DTO if we want, or something, I don't know. That's going to be of a type for now, any. I'm going to need to figure this out in a second. Then I could just go, oh, that's the thing though. If this age.turn is equal 1, this deal deck. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So maybe the deck dealing should not happen in here, but should actually happen in the game setup, which makes... Nope. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Because we need to deal the deck at the beginning of each age. Well, that's problematic because wow, okay. I've stumbled upon a... This is going to be a lot harder to... Okay, that's good. That's good, though. That needs to be done. So, okay, let's think about this. Right now, expect one argument. Yeah, let's forget about that for now. So, as it stands, let's get this here. Okay. So, as it stands, we get our prompt. We set up the game is okay. The game setup's done here for now. It's fine. We're not going to touch this, but we go game.step. That's the first thing we do upon getting our prompt. So obviously we need some sort of a way to... Right now we have access to the game object, and that's fine, I guess, if that's the way we want to do this. Ooh, I have a feeling this is getting into... I'm not separating my concerns properly. Because let's say if we consider that this main function here is kind of actually our front end, right? It's our CLI, and I would want to get that. I would want the game engine to actually work, as a web app, for instance. Um, in that case, this here shouldn't really have access to the game object, which is part of my back end, right? It's convenient to do it that way right now, but if we're thinking about right. So aside from that, though, well, I am calling stuff straight on the game object, which I really shouldn't be doing, I guess, if I really wanted to separate the engine from the front end. Huh. If I wanted them to be two separate processes, which that might be a little, I don't necessarily need to have that. But what if I wanted, though? Right? What if I wanted right now to actually have like a running process for my back end and a running process for my front end CLI? Let's say that's the way I wanted to do it. That would be the best way to right now make sure that the back end is really separate and can be used in all kinds of different ways. Ha ha ha. Do I want to set it up that way? Is there a way to kind of emulate that without having to actually make a separate process for it? Maybe. Using some sort of controller. Using an interface, obviously. If I use an interface, then yeah. If I use an interface, then it'll be relatively easy. Okay. So, if where to begin, though? So about my game class, I don't think I have a game interface. Nope. But I should probably have one. So if I wanted to remove all hard-coded, so game equals await setup game. Setup game I'm getting from game setup. which is kind of a yeah, this would be a backend function. So I would need okay, maybe I need to change just so that it's clear. I'm going to call this CLI. Boom. And I just need to change this in here. CLI. Okay. And maybe in here. Yep. CLI. I think that does the trick. Okay. Call main. Good. So now let's pretend that we can't actually instantiate. I don't have access to this. I need to make my own on the front end. I would need to pass it in. I need to pass something in as a dependency. That's kind of what the idea is. That way I'll be able to change it. Right? So I need an interface. Now I've got a separate game setup function here. Would it make sense to have that game setup? It makes sense to have that on the actual game class. What does this do essentially? It returns a promise with a game object. It's an async function, yeah. Yeah. Returns a promise with a game object. Essentially, it returns a game object. Mm-hmm. Weird. This got complicated all of a sudden. But I really feel like I need to kind of stop and think about architecture here. Otherwise, this is going to get really bad. All right. Well, let's start by making an interface for our setup game function, which is really just a function that we call and we're getting a game object back from. Now the thing is, the CLI, yeah, okay, let's just do that. So main needs a setup game function, which is of type Set up game, let's say func. And we're gonna make a type. For it. So let's make it right here. Type setup game func is equal to, at this point it doesn't take parameters, so, but it will eventually. So if I do it like that, and it just returns a promise with a game object. Oh, and we don't have a game object interface. So let's make one. Interface game. Move to a new file. No. It would be cool if you could just do, if there was like a quick action make interface from the class. But let's see, what do we have here? Let's just grab all of this. We'll figure out, so these are private, I don't need them. I do need these. No, I don't want to copy all of that. I'll just, okay, so I have an age and a discard pile. So an age of type age. Start with that. Let's split this up. How do I? Come on, I want to grab this. Ah, there we go. Declarations, cool. All right, so game. Age of type age. And then we have a discard pile of type pile. I mean, do we really need that in the, yeah, that's okay. For now, anyways. And we have a step. Oops. What was that? Set priority. No. Where am I? Where am I? I'm lost. Here, okay. Step. At the moment, it's returning game is over or undefined. So let's just get it to return a string, we'll say. Or undefined. Okay, what else do we have here? We have, this is private, this is private. Okay. Private. Total points is public, so total points. Also doesn't take anything and returns some kind of object that has a name, string, and victory points, which is a big int at the moment. And we've got a winner, which is technically read-only, read only, winner, which is a string array. That's it. Okay. Now, can get rid of that. Game should be game imp, which implements game. Okay. But now game, this should be game impl. Game impl. New game impl. Oh, now what? Should return a game. What seems to be type game implemented is not a symbolic game. Type game type properties total points are incompatible. String of the base another sample type. Oh, it's an array. Okay. It's an array of these. If I got this right. Game setup. Yeah, okay. So we're good here. So now this is returning. Cool. And now, if I'm looking at this, I am taking it in as a interface. So which means that I could implement my own setup game function on the, on the front end. Right now, for convenience sake, I'm just using the one that I have on the back end. But if I am, let's say on a web, if I make a web app out of this, then I could implement something that just basically passes messages to the back end. Maybe. Right, because I'm getting back a game interface, so I would need to, then step could simply be, oh yeah, okay, I think that, anyways, for now, I think it'll do. I think it'll do for now. Because if I'm looking at my CLI, everything, I'm getting this, and then I'm calling stuff from that. So good. I'm no longer from my main, from my CLI, which is kind of my front end. I'm no longer calling stuff directly from the back end. Some of the back end classes. Okay, I think this is right. I think it's better, anyways. Okay, so now that that's done, I need to. What was I about to do? Oh yeah, I was about to try to figure out a way to get player input in terms of what card, choosing a card. That's right. So let's think about this here. We've got our game set up, done. Now we're about to, here, okay, so we've got our game set up. Cool. And now we have our game information. Nice. Now from that, we need to deal cards, right? That's the first thing that needs to happen in an age. Right now I've got that happening in the step function in my game object. Basically says if this dot age dot turn is equal to 1, this dot deal deck. cool. I mean, okay, so maybe I should just skip. I should just return at that point. Right. If I just return at that point, because I mean, is there anything else that needs to happen? Oh yeah, no, I can't. How am I going to do this? Because this needs to be... Hmm. Man, it's hard to separate the game logic from... So the first turn, at the beginning of the first turn of each age, I need to deal the deck to each players. And then they need to choose what they're doing. Right now, I've got all of that happening in one step. Because, because it's all hard coded. I'm not. I know I don't need their input, but if I would need their input, I need a place where I can't just like keep going. I need to wait and get their input and then do something with that input. So how do I do that? How do I separate this from this in a logical way? Um, well, one way to do this would be to foist upon the front end the responsibility of checking whether this is the first age and then asking for a deck to be dealt. But that's kind of shoving some of the game logic, the responsibility onto the front end, which we want to be as dumb as possible. Hmm. 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 Well, let's see. We could make another check to see if okay, so we could have if this dot age dot turn equals 1. Yeah, we could do that. Okay, if this dot age dot turn equals 1 and, uh, you know, deck hasn't been dealt. If it hasn't, deal the deck, boom, return control to the front end so that players can, yeah, that could work. That could work. That could work. It really is the only way to do this that I can think of right now. So what's an easy way to check this? This dot age dot turn equals 1 and this dot players dot no, just let's say the first player and just check. Um, oh, I can't. Choose card, coins, discard, earn coin, get and remove. Get and remove hand. No, I don't want to do that. Set hand, throw a card, victory. Hmm. Well, I mean, I could just set up a flag. Just a Boolean flag, kind of, that I would just, keep here that says deck is dealt. True. And I just check this here. don't like it though. Oh, there's an easy way to do this. Stupid me. I do have access to the decks. So, and this dot dex and this dot age dot ID -1. If I'm not mistaken, an empty array would return on the find, right? Let's try. Oh, no, that's not going to work. Let's just do a quick text. I haven't. Quick testing right in here. Const r equals boom and boom. And if I go if r, so if r is undefined basically, console, I don't even need the curly, do I? If I do it on the same line. Console.log it's empty. All right. Interesting. Well, I could just do r equals true as well. It's false equals false. It's also false. No, it's, I think this is what I need to do. True. It's false. It's false. It's true. Well, I'm all confused now. How about we made a function out of it? Function, pass in my array, and then I'll just go console.log. If r console. Let's see. Can I actually make? Oh yeah, look at that. Cool. Don't play with the console in here that often. So let's do that just to make sure. Doesn't do indentation though. Okay. So if there is an array, we call it stuff in array. It's turning into a complicated, and let's just return at this point. So I don't need to do another if here. And then here, return console. Oh, I don't even need console log. It'll do that automatically, right? Because we're in the console. So no stuff in array. Okay, and our function is going to be called stuff in array. All right, okay. So now let's do stuff in array. Pass in our array, which was empty. And it returns stuff in array. So, okay. I guess an empty array returns true. Cool. I was just curious. That's not a problem. Many ways to do this, but so this in this dex, we're getting the deck, and then we need to check the length. What do I want to check? If it's not empty, so it is bigger than 0, then deal the deck, and then yeah. return this deal deck. What seems to be the problem here. Void property step into type string undefined. All right. Where step string or void? Would that make you happy? Looks like it would. But that's, I really shouldn't be doing it that way. Should probably return some kind of message. Return. We'll just return deck. Let's do this. Age. Age. What would make more sense here? Yeah, I still have a problem here because I'm using the same interface really for, this is going to be a problem down the line, but anyways, I choose to ignore it for now. Age, this dot, age dot ID deck has been dealt. Boom. Let's go with that. And then let's get our friend here to just return string. But then he's going to say no, because we're returning undefined at some point. Ugh. That's interesting, isn't it? Where am I returning undefined? Oh, right. Because it automatically returns undefined if you get to the end of the function and there's no return statement. Yeah. Forgot about that. But all right, we're just going to leave it at that for now. Don't want to deal with that now. Okay, so I think with this mechanism in place, we are returning control to the front end after dealing the deck. We did not advance the age. We're still at age 1, but now the next time it'll come around, it'll check, oh, it's age 1, but oh, wait, we have dealt the deck, so we can move on to, dealing with player input. Yep, I think that works. Okay. So what's the next step? The next step is actually passing something. So I'm here. I'm going to need to display some information to the user. It's particular, this game, because there's really, there are game turns, but all players basically play at the same time. So now I have an interesting choice, right? Because Huh. It wouldn't make much sense to implement a way to play this game with more than, many human players on the same computer because, sitting next to each other, they would see each other's hands. So if I was to implement some kind of way to do this multiplayer, many human players, but on different computers, we're getting into complicated stuff. But all right, let's just start with the constraint that we're never going to have more than one human player. But that's yeah, okay, and we're never going to have more than one human player. And for now, woo, my uh, whew, my chair just kind of unlocked and yeah. What was I saying? So we're never going to have more than one human player, and the computer players. I'm not going to implement AI right away. I'm just going to hard code whatever they're going to do for now. Okay. Okay. So I should probably change how right now I'm adding human players. But that's another entire thing. I'm going to get back to that, I think. So going with that, it then makes it easy to, I don't have to deal with, whose human player's turn is it to input stuff. Just throw it back to the front end, and I know that whatever they're going to send me is going to be the one human player's uh, actions. Does that make sense? Kind of. Although, do I want to take that into account in the game engine? Shouldn't I just implement the game engine treating all players as players and not actually, anyways, in the step function, I should make a distinction between, that's not where, yeah, that's not where player action choices and stuff should happen, even for AI. So really, the step function should only be getting as a parameter all players. Who cares if they're human or AI? All players' choices and the entire turn setup. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. All right, so I have to basically a big to-do here. To-do. Because I'm running out of time. Won't have time to deal with that today. So, to-do. How are we going to describe this? Implement a way for, actually let's make this smaller in scope. All we really want to do for now is replace this. To do allow players to choose cards. Because right now it's hard-coded. We're just popping off whatever cards at the end of the hand, and we're using that. So need to implement a way to actually get players to decide which card they choose to play. That's what we're going to be doing probably tomorrow. Cool. Whoa, 5 viewers. Hi, everyone. Got about 7 minutes left. You guys have any questions for me or things you'd like me to try or do or whatever? Things you'd like to share? Maybe you're working on an interesting project at the moment. Or not, that's cool. If you just want to silently watch me code away. So maybe I could take a minute and push that to get. What did I do there? I pretty much I decoupled the CLI. Let's be honest, kind of. The CLI from game implementation. That's the crux of what I did here. Push that to GitHub. And all right, so that's going to be it for me for today. Thanks for watching, guys.